5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Sofa Club is live.
Hi everyone, welcome to Peccadillo Pictures' Sofa Club. So I'm joined here with director and writer Marley.
Hello.
We've got Nell, who plays AJ, and we've got Jo, who plays Tina.
Hey, hi everyone.
Hi, how is everyone?
Good, thanks.
Great.
Very
Good
good,
to see you. Yeah, really well. Good to see you, Laverne.
Brilliant. I can't wait to get going. So Sweetheart has been out for a little while now. How has it been? What has it been like? What were you like the morning when it was premiered in comparison to what you're like now?
Oh gosh. Well, I personally didn't really get a chance to kind of think because I've been shooting, so I was kind of just checking in on stuff like between takes and on my lunch break and stuff. So but yeah, I mean, it's been amazing. We totally didn't expect the response that it sort of had, and yeah, completely sort of overwhelmed with it all, really, I guess.
What about you now, as your first massive feature film?
Yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. I think also because it's such a cinema film, like when you see it on the big screen, it's such a different experience. So it was so exciting for me and for us to see to know that people were watching it in the cinema in that setting. So yeah, I was just really excited for people to see it on that massive screen. And I actually went on the first day it was out. I went with my dad and I went with my stepmom, and we all bought a ticket. And yeah, it was great. And we've got a framed oh god, my dad's framed the poster, and then he's got the 3 tickets from the
Oh,
on the corner. And I was like, I didn't know he'd done it. And then I came home just for to visit. I was like, oh my god, like I can't believe you've done that.
Oh gosh, that's so lovely. Has there been any favorite reactions you've had so far to the film, like any DMs or people coming up to you, or has there been any comments that you've been like, oh wow, yeah, cool, thanks?
I think the best reactions have been from people that I don't know. So as in I've had a few messages come through from young girls that have watched it, and it's really spoken to them, and I've actually passed a few on to Marley, and their reactions have been the best because they've been really excited by it and it's really spoken to them, and it's kind of why the film was made. So I guess in that way, that's been the best reaction for me.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Just same as Nell said, we just get I've been getting a lot of messages from people all over the world, which is mad. You know, people that haven't even seen the film, or some people that have managed to see it at a festival or something. But you know, I got a message from a girl from Chile, another girl from Brazil, from New Zealand. So it's just sort of all over the world, but it seems to be sort of, I guess, yeah, young gay girls or that are kind of connecting with it and sort of saying that they feel seen, and that one message I got said, well, I've never related to a character in a film so much, and just stuff like that. And you just think, oh, that's amazing, you know, because that's who we made it for. So that's great.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And also I know obviously we've all been in touch with this film, but I think seeing the posters around London and around different places has just been surreal. I know you've been tagged in some, Marley, and so have you now. How's that been, sort of just sharing your work on your stories and on social media?
Yeah, that the whole poster thing is, I think, is the most bizarre thing for me. Going to Hackney Picture House and seeing the huge board there that, you know, June was on the week before or whatever, and that's mad. And then I never managed to actually see any posters when I was walking around, because I wasn't sort of walking around Soho at that sort of time, but all my friends, people just used to be sending me pictures, been walking around Soho or Brick Lane or something, be like, oh snap, spotted your poster or whatever. And then I think in Brick Lane there was a whole row of them, which was just yeah, I mean, it's just mad, isn't it? It's just, is that real? Is that, if I go to Brick Lane now, am I really gonna see that?
I didn't see any posters either, actually, which was really weird. Anywhere in London, I was the same. I got sent lots of pictures of posters, but I never saw a single one. But it was exciting as well. Like if you going past a picture house and like when they put up the films of the week in their boxes, you're like, ah.
Oh gosh. And let's take it back to sort of on set, because obviously that's where it all sort of started. So is there any like particularly funny moments that you're still reflecting on where you're just like, that was insane and you know this is crazy?
Oh God, I mean, there's a lot, and I don't know what I'm allowed to talk about. I think, you know, the weather was one thing that kind of really freaked me out, because we were shooting in September and it was really nice weather the whole way through. And then as soon as we wrapped, I don't know if you remember, Nell, but like the whole heavens fell down, didn't it? And it was just like torrential rain, like 5 minutes after we wrapped, where it hadn't rained at all the whole time we were there. And it was just sort of weird things were happening down there, you know, like when you stay down there for like a month, it's sort of becomes home, and it's very isolated, and there was no phone signal, which was interesting.
I love that. I love that so much. You had to go up a hill. Like I think there was this like really beautiful like I think a cliff might be too dramatic, but maybe it was a cliff, I'm not sure, but you had to like walk up
there to get a signal.
But I really like that. I was quite sort of like a fan of that. But
you're stuck with it. We're stuck with everyone, and that's it. That's it.
I was lucky that everyone was so nice and pleasant. Otherwise, might have been in a bit of trouble. But yeah, I remember the rain. I remember like when we finished filming and like being, you know, lying in the caravan like these little tuna cans and like feeling the rain, like hearing the rain really loudly and feeling like, oh my God, we've like it's done. Like I don't have to get up tomorrow, and which I was quite sad about actually. I wanted to keep working. I didn't really want to go home, but I was like, oh no, it's done, it's finished.
That's so funny.
It's good, isn't it? Just over, just like that. It can be so intense, and then it's just like done.
Yeah, that's it, wrapped. It's like, oh, do you want another? Oh, okay, well, I'll go.
And you lived with each other on set, right? So like, was it from beginning to end you all sort of stayed where you were working?
Yes.
Yeah, we all stayed on site in the caravans that you see in the film. Those were, you know, a big bunch of those were, I don't know, maybe sort of 15 of those were all sort of scattered around the park. But
yeah, we weren't all directly next to each other. We were like in different but we were next to someone. Like I was up with like the actors up on the hill.
Yeah,
it was like me, Ella-Rae, Sam and Tabby, and we were all like opposite each other. And we just used to wander into a caravan and take a potato waffle if
yeah, that was it. Everyone was just kind of wandering between different caravans, and I think Amber, our first, she actually stayed in the caravan that is the family caravan that we shot in. So that was fun every morning. Wakey
we need to shoot
now. But yeah, no, it was just nice. It's just like being on sort of a long working holiday with everyone, and sort of just being able just to pop into different caravans and have a chat, have a cup of tea, and nick some toast or something.
Yeah, literally just being like, oh, is that you gonna eat?
It was always you, actually. It was always you and Ella-Rae, wasn't it? They were just like, what are you guys doing in here? Like, oh, you're having some food, are you? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'll just sit down and I'll sit on the sofa for a bit.
Just scouting what's on everyone's plate. It's like, I think
yeah. What have you got in
that?
Okay.
And sort of in terms of the filmmaking process, Marley, I wanted to ask sort of, you did this with the film London's Microwave Budget. So what advice do you have for any aspiring filmmakers sort of trying to apply for something like this? And, you know, how helpful was it? And, you know, what was the whole process behind that?
Oh gosh, I mean, it's a really long process. The whole thing sort of takes probably over 2 years, but I mean, films do take a long time. I think Sweetheart took about sort of 5-6 years from kind of first conception of one idea to kind of where we got to. But I mean, the people at Film London are amazing. So I'll always recommend, you know, new filmmakers reaching out to them, because they're some of the most supportive people that I've ever met in the film space. So I really loved working with them, and I felt like I learned a lot going through the process with them. It's very difficult, it's very hard. You have to go through a lot of drafts, you know, like I went through a hell of a lot of drafts before I got to where we got to. But yeah, it was an amazing process. I wouldn't change anything going back to it now. And I in terms of what I can say to new filmmakers is these sorts of schemes are always looking for why, I'd say why you know, why you and what's your story. And I guess the more personal that you can make it, then the better in respect to those sorts of schemes, I guess. Make what you want, but I think with these sorts of schemes, it's very much about like your personal, how you're connected personally to the film that you want to make.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think also, you know, when you think about sort of doing something on an independent film with a smaller budget, you have to sort of like think about all the aspects. So sort of having sort of application process sort of to map things out probably is quite helpful as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And they really help you to kind of realize, if you haven't really worked in film before much other than short films, kind of understanding like just how far that much money goes. Because if you're like a working class filmmaker like me, who's come from like making films like on DV cams or mobile phones and like for no money, when someone says, oh, this scheme is like 150k and you could get free film, like that feels like a hell of a lot of money when you're used to making films on a couple of £100. But going through that process, you kind of learn just how far those things stretch when it comes to filmmaking, and ways that you can work with your producer to kind of tighten your script and really kind of and make it achievable on 150k, because it's, you know, it's not a lot of money when you put it on screen.
Yeah, no, I completely understand what you're saying there. It sounds way too complicated for my brain to sort of wrap my head around, but I understand exactly what you mean. And Nell, so obviously, you know, you won a grand jury prize, you know, you're this big newcomer and things like that. So how has this whole journey been, sort of from, you know, getting the role to now? How has this all been for you?
Like amazing, like it's been absolutely amazing. I would never have imagined it. I mean, I knew that the part was brilliant, and I knew the people that I was working with Marley and Michelle was brilliant. But I never envisioned that it would sort of take me to, or like I never thought in my life I'd be able to be in a film that would get such amazing recognition and such like lovely feedback. And so yeah, it's been such a journey. Yeah, I can't quite believe it really. I think I'm still slightly like, it still hasn't quite sunk in. I think maybe it'll sink in a couple of years and then I'll go, oh, I did that.
That's so cool. And also I think a really big highlight as well has been these
oh yeah, hang on a second,
you're gonna get it out.
I love the t-shirts, man. I was so happy with the t-shirts. They look dope.
They are beautiful, and they're also really soft,
right?
Not, you know, at school when you used to get those like Fruit of the Loom kind of, you know what I mean, like the that material that was really uncomfortable. It's not like,
so obviously like for like those watching, so I think we had stickers, we had sticks of rock that kind of like gave like beach seaside vibes. We had zines, and a lot of the zine was from like AJ's perspective, because Nell fantastically wrote, you know, things that she thought now AJ would be thinking. She wrote down, you know, books that she'd been reading, things from the perspective of AJ, and it just came together. Like, how much do you think like the merch sort of made it feel like one big project? Because I loved it. I've not seen anything like that, so I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
I think it let the audience into the world more, I think, because they're quite personalized as well. Like they're really well, I mean, thanks to Peccadillo, who were brilliant, but they were like really well thought out sort of merch. So I think because they were quite detailed and because they were quite like ingrained in the story, I think to give those to audience members, I think it made them feel quite, I don't know, involved in some way. Maybe that's not, yeah, that's why I thought they were quite good.
Yeah, aesthetically, like, you know, the design and everything, I think was really freaking cool. And you know, everybody loves a t-shirt. I know I love a t-shirt, like.
And with Sweetheart sort of coming out on DVD at the end of November, so the end of this month, how are you gonna sort of, is that gonna be like your comfort film? How often do you think you're gonna like watch it and things like that? Like, I can't wait to just put it on when it's just like raining outside, because it will give me like nostalgia of like summer. Are you excited to sort of like have it physically?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I saw it on Amazon the other day. Like, someone sent me a picture of it, and it was just because instead of it being like a poster, it was like a picture of the actual DVD.
Yeah,
it was just like, oh, that's weird. It's an actual thing. And you know, I'm still one of those old school people that likes to have my films on DVD. I don't trust the digital world, so I want a physical copy of it, whether it's a book or a DVD, which obviously takes up a hell of a lot of space in my house. But yeah, I always need a physical thing. So I think, yeah, I mean, it'd be amazing to have a physical DVD of one of my films on the shelf, you know, amongst everything else that I've got. I don't know how often I'll watch it though. That's you know, yeah, maybe every summer or something, just or every winter, as you said, to kind of remind you of summer. But yeah, I think, God, I've watched it so many times now. You know.
Yeah, I think a break is needed. Like, I've watched it about exactly so many times, over 15 times probably. No, maybe not that, but about at least 10 times.
Dissecting your performance, like, why did she use this take?
Why did I do this?
I know your family is probably going to have like all sorts of copies. You're going to be on all the shelves, you know, just there, like, oh, it's me.
I have a very large family, so it will do the rounds, I'm sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. And it being sort of on streaming services as well, so that's really crazy. So I know it was #1 on the BFI player just the other day, so it really is sort of getting,
I didn't know that.
well, it was #1 on the BFI player last week. Yeah, oh gosh, yeah, it's just, you know, it's so crazy, just like, because like you see that you know, that shot of Nell, you know, and it's just like, oh my goodness, this is sort of getting the reach and sort of, you know, really good sort of like British cinema. And so we'll ask Joe when she comes on, but what is the importance of like British independent cinema to you guys? Like, what does it mean to you?
Oh God, I mean, that's such a huge question. Like, it means everything to me. Like, I grew up watching these films, you know, whether it's like British filmmakers, you know, Mike Leigh, Shane Meadows, Ken Loach, like, you know, I've watched British films for years, and massive part of my filmmaking journey. And I think, you know, we make such different films over here that really speak to different communities and different experiences, and I think that's really important. And I think that's a really specifically British thing, which I hope we can kind of hang on to, I guess.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely. I think what it means when I because I grew up watching independent film, you know, all my life. I think it's a big part of it is like showcasing new talent and people I haven't seen before, and so new actors that have just kind of come on the scene, and new directors, and I think kind of what Marley was talking about earlier with the micro budget, what you can do with a certain amount of money and what you can make, and I think also independent film, I think it very much like gives you a window into like something you've never seen before, like as an experience or a culture or I think it so many independent films I've seen, I've just seen so many different worlds and so many different kind of characters. And sorry, that's quite a broad answer, but
No, it's
there
fantastic.
are just so many different stories. And as Marley said, you've got to make them personal and what they mean to you. And it just shows you a glimpse into like lots of people's lives. And yeah.
Which I think mainstream film, potentially doesn't do in that respect in terms of independent film. Because I think, with independent film, you can sort of risk a bit, in terms of kind of story and what you're talking about, and they can tend to be a lot more personal, which is great, and as Nell said, like showcasing new talent and giving new filmmakers an opportunity to kind of get their foot in the door, because that's, unless you get super lucky and you come out of film school and go and direct a Disney movie or something like that, I think a lot of us, we go through that. That's our kind of training ground, is making independent films, and
also actors as well. Like your entry point a lot of the time is through independent film, and it's such a great way to be like introduced into the industry. So as I've gotten older, I'm so interested in watching other, all the kind of the new indie films that are out at the moment, and what festivals they go to, and what circuits they take, and who's in them, and who's produced them, and I think because it's been indie film's been a real starting point for me. I mean, that's kind of like where my career's kind of gone. So it's a big place of curiosity for me.
Oh, so exciting. So much to come from both of you. I've just received a message, so I think Joe's in the waiting room.
Hey, Jojo.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Glasses.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I got a bit of reflection on. I had to close the blinds and then put the light on, so I'm not a very good DOP. These are my little cubits. I've got so many glasses. I got a little bit addicted to Izzy Pizzy. It's great. So you get all different colours, but these are my posh ones for sweetheart.
Oh, they're really nice. I really like the shape.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Happy Friday. I've been dancing to our. This is what we do in the flat. We dance when we're happy.
And I think you guys have every reason to be happy, because 5 BIFA nominations. Oh my goodness. Where were you all when you found out?
On the floor.
Were you on the floor?
No, I fell on the floor. I was like, ah!
Oh,
Nell is taking everything literally.
To be fair, like I really thought you were doing some kind of maybe some pelvic exercises or something on the carpet.
I just remember being on set. I was on set shooting, and I think I got a message from you, Jojo. It was like, I'm in a cafe. I can't believe that. I had to go to the toilet because I can't believe this has happened. I was just
yeah, it was insane. It was lovely, like to see the long list, and I was really excited anyway at that. And then when we heard, it was incredible. I think I started to cry a little bit. I had a little cry. It was like one of those cries that just blurts out and then it stops and then you laugh about. And then I went, "Are you sure?" I didn't doubt it for 1 minute, but it was just so exciting because I mean it's such a project of like, all of us came together just lovingly, didn't we, and put our heart and soul into it. So I think it means more when you really care so much about something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's never where you expect to find out, is it? I was on the 24 bus.
That's my favourite number. No, that is so weird. I've got 24 tattooed on my foot.
That is weird. It's my favourite bus. The 24 and the 29 are my favourite buses because they're so good.
Nell, stop it. I've got 24 and 29 tattooed on my foot. It's my dad's birthday and my mum's birthday.
No, you haven't. Yeah. It's weird when you're around Jo. She's like a witch. It's like weird stuff.
Right. Can you tell me again about the story with the water on set?
Oh, go on.
Michelle can know. Well, I don't know what happened. We was actually not on set. We just wrapped for the day. And I was walking home. We'd had a really good day and I was all in my little serene mood, just wandering around the camp, the whatever you call it. I can't remember what we call it. What do we call it? The park. The park. And we used to call them holiday camps back in the day. They are holiday camps, aren't they? And I was wandering back and I was happy, and I just heard all this commotion. And then I was like, what's going on? And it was one of the caravans. I think it was a crew member, one of the girls, and Michelle was there. And she's like, I think Michelle was there. We can't turn the tap off, Jojo. And I was like, yeah, we can. And I just kind of like, I don't know what it was. It was almost like I became really centered, and I just walked up the stairs to the caravan, and I walked over and I just looked at the taps and I went, okay, we're going to turn them off now. And they were gushing. They'd been gushing for about half an hour, and I just put my hand on the taps and I just really focused and went, okay. And then I turned them off. And they all just screamed and ran off and was like, what have you just done? I was like, I just said, turn off. And they just started laughing. I was giggling and I ran off, and I was just like, just turn it off. And it was just a weird moment, because I think it was obviously a fluke, but I became this kind of Glinda good witch, didn't I? It was like
there were so many of those things. It was just like, there were so many of those just like little things. I think didn't one of our crew or one of the costume girls like lose a really tiny ring or earring or something like that, and it was lost for days, and we were like, oh well, that's kind of like, and then Jojo found it. Like,
do you know where I found that? Can I tell you where I found that? I think it was a costume one, and they were like really upset, and I just we'll find it. I said, we'll find it. It's all right. It was in costume in the morning and makeup, and I just walked into the toilet and I sat down. And I looked down and it was there right next to me. And I picked it up and just walked out and went, here it is. And they were like, ah!
Like, this woman. It's I don't understand.
Maybe we manifested our biffers then. Maybe we believed that we could do it. And we was like,
I think that's what it is. I think it's complete manifestation, especially from Joe's behalf, because these coincidences are insane.
Yeah,
honestly. But I was really like blown away and shocked when I found out about the nomination. And I actually, that was the only thing that I was like, "Are you sure?" And I'm just like, it was really like, I don't know. I think we all just went into this, didn't we, Marley and Nell? Just like, and Michelle's here, but I know she's not visible, but with just like no expectations, but we worked so hard, and we just like loved the process, didn't we? It was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the best prep. Like, it's the best, as I've said many times, it was the best job ever.
You guys, and no, I think we just all got on really well. I think that was sort of what really helped, and we all sort of, as Jojo said, like, we had no expectations. We just wanted to make a good film, and we knew it was going to be, you know, small and kind of personal and intimate, and we kind of, they both just trusted me a lot, and I trusted them, and we all just kind of got on really well, and we loved working with each other and kind of exploring the story and doing what we can on the day to kind of give it life, really. And then we kind of, and that was it, you know, that was kind of as far as our obligation went. Obviously I then went into the edit, and that kind of carried on for a while for me, but like, I kind of just think we just wanted to just get it done, and it was, we didn't really think about anything else after that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. And what we did was have that, I think Nell and I, and like Marley's, you're a great leader, like, you know your stuff, and I think that's reassuring. And although there was like a very, very small budget, none of us were there for that. We were there to tell a story that meant a lot to Marley, that meant a lot to Nell, that meant a lot to me. And what I loved about, you know, Tina is she had an incredible journey as well as AJ. And I love that it was with AJ, and that it was AJ that taught her quite a lot about herself waking up, and you know, sort of coming to terms with certain things in her own life, and I think, like, when we was in rehearsals, I just knew, like, Nell's so well prepared, and you know, Marley knew exactly what, you know, you knew what you wanted, didn't you, Marley? And it was like this, we just had fun. And what's lovely about Biffa is it's an incredible organization, and it's really exceptional to be supported by them, because it is where I started actually, Biffa, with, I mean, I know Dead Man's Shoes was nominated, This Is England was nominated, and we won, and Tomo won the award that Nell's up for, and we had an incredible night. And then Marley, when I first met Marley, had said, I'm a really big fan of Shane Meadows and you, and I love your work, and you know, had you on my vision board, I really wanted you to play Tina. And I just said, yeah, my heart just broke. I was just like, you know, you knew a lot about film, you had good taste. And I was like, I want to do this, you know, and it's great to be on people's first feature, and you don't get that opportunity very often because it's always about the work. So Biffa supporting us is incredible, isn't it, Marley and Nell and everyone, Michelle, you know, it's so exciting, so exciting. We had Dinard as well. There's loads of things happen that we just didn't expect, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm literally so chuffed for you guys, honestly. And you mentioned, Joe, about the connection between, you know, yourself and Nell, but then also AJ and Tina. So I remember Nell telling us about, like, you got her number and you texted her, and you sort of got, you guys connected way before you'd even started. Was that just like because you a conscious decision, or you were like, oh no, this is a job, like, or did you just instantly just sort of connect like that?
Well, obviously, sorry, go on.
No, I had nothing to say, but except that you texted me first, so I'm not sure. I wouldn't have thought to text you, but you texted me first.
Yeah, I think because, like, I mean, the casting, incredible, everything was sort of put into place for us. And I think once, like, Marley and Michelle, and they'd chosen who they wanted and we brought it together, I think those energies kind of come together as well. Like, now I'm really incredibly lucky to work with, I've had a lot of screen children, you know, and I'm incredibly lucky to have worked with some of the best actors, like, you know, Tomo and Gabby and Nell and Taron. And like, what happens is, I think it is a reflection of your own desires, what you create. And my job as a parent, and also as a, you know, even if I'm not an incredibly supportive parent, or I'm a little bit detached in some way, is to make that person feel like they can be or do anything with me, in front of me, speak to me at any time, to create that safety, even if some of the scenes are incredibly difficult. And I think reaching out and creating that connection allows the space for trust and for safety and for love, really. And if you're playing someone's parent, then you've got to emulate it. I mean, I haven't got any children, I've got loads of nieces and nephews, but yeah, I think it's incredibly important to give, you know, especially if someone's not been on as many jobs. And it's terrifying, isn't it, Nell? It's like, what's going to happen? You know, I felt like that on Dead Man's Shoes, but people were so kind. I like to prepare a lot. What I like to do as an actor is I really like to know my lines inside out, and I like to prepare a lot, and I like to be in the backstory with the person that I'm going to be on set with mostly, and then let go on set and let the director mold you in the way that you need to. Or, you know, usually, like, Marley was incredible, just let us go and then we tweak a few things. Most good directors cast the people that they know they can do it, and they kind of let them get on with it with a few tweaks, really. That's my experience with, like, Ricky and Shane and Marley and people like that. So I've been lucky. But yeah, we text a lot, didn't we, Nell? Did we share some songs? Did we talk? I came to see your play. Nell did a one-woman show.
Wow.
Yeah, so Joe came to see that, which is really nice. Joe, Marley, Michelle all sat in the audience, and Anna, Michelle's sister. So yeah,
just a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, I was like, oh god, I think I'd just been cast as well. I think I got cast like the day before or something. I was
like, we're coming to your show tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we're coming on Tuesday, we'll see you there. And I was like, oh yeah.
I was sat in the front row like that.
Oh, that's my daughter.
My AJ, she's good, isn't she? She was very good. Yeah, it's incredibly. It was an amazing play, and then we met outside. But I don't know, Marley and I are into similar things. Like, we like sort of our meditations and good things, don't we, Marley? So we all connected on different levels. So it was just nice. And film. I mean, God, great taste in film. So what's your most inspiring John Hughes? What's your favourite John Hughes film, Marley?
Oh my God, probably Uncle Buck.
That's the only one I've not seen. That's ridiculous.
With John Candy.
I love him. Adore him.
It's John Candy, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
I love that. I love that you guys have such like similar tastes, but it literally comes across on screen, because like obviously like AJ and Tina, they come to blows in the film, but the chemistry is just undeniable. But I think that probably is, you know, you, Joe, going to the play and texting Nell, and sort of, so you just know exactly sort of how to bounce off each other. What was that like for you, Marley, just watching it from like behind the camera? Were you just like, oh my goodness, this is gold?
Yeah, well, exactly that. Yeah, I felt like my job was very, very easy with both of them, because they just got it, and they just connected, and they just sort of instantly had this really sort of dysfunctional but loving daughter parent relationship, and that was kind of everything that I'd wanted out of that, which was like, underneath all of this stuff is like an absolute love for each other, and you know, they're just of different generations and trying their best, and yeah, and I think they just connected, and I felt like my job just became really, really easy to kind of just watch them and let them play and explore, and then, as Jojo said, just tweak it every now and again. But I mean, they're so great, you really don't have to do much with either of them. They're amazing, both of them.
Oh,
do you know what? It was funny because we kind of like we WhatsApped each other a lot and messaged each other and left things. Like I did that with Marley. I used to like messages and ask things. But I think like with Tina, what was funny is she's such an incredibly beautiful human being, but she's got like the fear of financial insecurity. She's got single parents, she's got daughters from different generations. She reminded me like of an auntie or somebody who really does sort of just say the wrong thing at the wrong time, but her heart's in the right place. And I think because, I don't know, AJ's so intelligent and sort of authentic and unique, it was like the two clashed, but they were almost similar in very many ways. And I think when we were preparing, we'd share things, wouldn't we? Now we'd sort of, I remember it was late at night, and I think we used to leave each other quite long WhatsApp messages, didn't we? And we'd just connect and share things, so we knew things about each other. And then when we got on set, it was easy to be at loggerheads, I think, because you felt safe. Because if you like that with someone before you get on set, it doesn't work, because you're actually self-aware that the person's not engaged with you or they're not invested. But because there was that love and that safety, we could push the kind of arguments and the
comedy,
yeah, the clashing and the tantrums a bit further, really.
Exactly.
But,
yeah, absolutely. And Joe taught me a lot as well, like on my first sort of big job, just like a lot of interesting things about acting and about technical stuff and about filming. And so yeah, it was a really great sort of on and off set like relationship.
That's stuff that I've stole off other people anyway, just passing it on.
I think that's all it is, isn't it? It's like pass information.
Pass it on. And also I want, like, when you, I don't know, Nell, if this is true, but I certainly felt it when you first started out or you knew something, you're terrified. I mean, I can still be terrified now with stuff like when I did my skin, I was terrified. It's like when you play, you know, just did in my skin playing bipolar, you're terrified because you're like, how am I going to do it? But I think it's important as well to enjoy the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
and have fun and not take yourself too seriously, but take the actual film and the process and the story seriously, put the work in. Yeah, because what it does is that, it gives you confidence, doesn't it, Nell? And it allows you to make mistakes, and Marley gave us that platform, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think everything, all you guys made it a lot less terrifying. I think I remember on like the first day just being like, I don't think I can do this. I actually got into my head for about 15 minutes. I was like, I'm gonna get a tap on the shoulder from someone being like, I'm so sorry, there's been a really big mistake, you're gonna have to go home. gonna get someone else in. I genuinely thought for about 15 to 20 minutes, I was like, oh my God, it's just a matter of time. I'm just gonna have to wait now. And just, but it was fine. The next day, everything was fine. I mean, it was still scary, but every day the fear got brought down, and like, I guess the kind of the ego got brought down, and then you just sort of, then you're there and it's okay.
And it's the last week, and you're like, oh, can we go back and do the first 2 weeks again?
More in me. I've got 3 more weeks.
Yeah. Well, do you remember when you used to come and sit in the caravan, and me and Marley was near each other, and at night I'd shout over the little wall, and then they'd all be sat having a drink, and I'd be like, hey! And we would be there. We would all be like, it was a great little community, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wake up in the morning and walk to the sea, and the sea was there, and it's like, you know, we're incredibly lucky to be working, doing what we love, on a story that's incredibly important and fun with great people. What's there not to enjoy? Like, you have to be grateful. You have to find that essence of gratitude, even where there's fear. Fear just creates like blockages, and in all areas of life, you know, and it's easy to say, but we need people to talk to. And I think Nell and I had that, and Marley and I had that, and Michelle as well. You know, Michelle created a really safe space for everybody, really incredibly like looked after everyone so well with absolutely no budget, made sure everybody had everything they needed. You know, I just remember getting to my caravan and it being full of like fruit and tea and coffee, and oh my God, I started crying. I was like, oh, this is so nice. I felt like really, I don't know, just the little things. It was the little things that really made it special, you know.
Yeah.
I did take my own pillow because I thought, oh no, I can have a bad night.
That was a good decision. That was a very wise.
Take it everywhere. I'm going on holiday with my mates next week, and I said, Eddie, is it all right if I bring my pillow and like you can take it in the car? And he was like, what are you taking a pillow for? I said, I have a temper pillow. I can't do nana neck.
Fair enough. We were talking just before you joined, Joe, about what it really was like you guys you're sort of playing a family, but you really were living on set. I think that's something that many people won't really realize, but like, what was it like literally like living where you were working for a little while?
Loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Didn't it? Bit of sea air.
I loved it. I think it throws you into it. I mean, I think, was I only there for 12 days or 13 days? Because it was in between In My Skin and in Deadman.
Afterlife. You came and then you went and then you came back again.
Did I? Yeah. Oh, it was so busy. I was so busy. It was great. And I was like, I never do that, right? Because I was doing In My Skin, which is really completely just was cut off from everyone in that character. And then Afterlife, where you just have to be so incredibly present because, you know, the comedy is like not to be played and things like that. So it was like these two, and I like to just do one job at a time. I'm a little bit like, I need to just do this. But I had all these jobs come in, and then this came in, and I was like, and I really wanted to do it. And the only time we could do was fit it in between the other two. So I think I did go and come back. But Dead Man's Shoes, we kind of went and we stayed in these cottages in Matlock. And I was only there, I only filmed for 2 days, but I stayed for the 3 weeks. And Shane created this family and this kind of depth, and we had a camaraderie. We'd all meet and go to the pub, and I think that's what Sweetheart was like. It was like you was there, you lived it, and you breathed it, and you could. Nell and I used to learn lines, run scenes, because it's very busy once you get on set, and we didn't have loads of time before, did we?
No. Like it was very sort of, quick pace.
It kind of cuts you off from the outside world, and with all the distractions of social media and so much going on, sometimes, you know, couldn't even get a signal, and it was a great excuse. I remember though, when I was away, my little budgie passed away, didn't?
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, little budgie passed away, and I was sat on the sea front, and everyone was like, oh, and we did some little sent energy to it, and I came back and I took it to a little burial and got it cremated and put it in a little Swedish pebble. Oh, she's there.
Oh, bless her.
That went off piece, didn't it? Sorry, but I just remembered.
Do you remember, Joe, when we went for a walk and we went to try and get some food or something because we were like sick of having like chips from the holiday park, and we were like, oh, we'll go walk to the village and we'll get some food. We'll try and find like a Chinese takeaway or something, or a chippy or something like that. and one of the locals was like, oh, not in Burton Bradstock, like like it was just like there was just no chance of getting whatever we wanted because it was like the tiniest village with like nothing there. And then Joe walks into a pub and they're like, are you off the telly? And then like 5 minutes later, I think I went outside for a cigarette or something like that. Joe turns around, I've got a picture of you coming out of the pub with a tray of like foil wrapped fish and lobster and whatever it was. It was like some fancy like fish like pub restaurant place, but she come up with this whole tray of stuff and I was like, what happened? She like recognized me off the telly.
Oh, yeah. That's brilliant.
The joys. I know it was an incredible day. I don't know who was it. Who was it? There was three of us, weren't there? There was someone else. Yeah, it was brilliant. We went out and just exactly what Marley just said. And yeah, we got lucky, didn't we? Because it was literally like everything was closed. And the woman was like, have what you want. And we got chipped. Did we take some back? It was incredible as well, wasn't it? Food.
Yeah, it was really nice.
We've got loads of good sweetheart stories. We have. You know what I loved? Do you know what I loved when we was in, apart from the dancing and the gold dress, which I've still got, my mate Fifi watched this the other day and she was like, I love it. I love the bit where you're dancing in the gold dress and you're completely free. I said, I've got it. Do you want it? And she was like, no, I don't want that.
That is such a good scene.
You know what? I should wear it to the Biffers. That'd be so funny.
Yeah, I love that you've got
Joe, you should wear it to the Biffers.
Can you imagine what's happened? Joe Hartley's a bit weird. She turned up in that dress in the film. Yeah, there was what I love was going back to that area. Was it like the working man's club bit, the kind of the bar area and the disco area? I loved it because it reminded me of when I was little, and I used to go to Pontins and Butlins and like places like Blackpool and Camber Sands, and we'd go to these holiday camps, and then I'd really look forward to getting dressed up at night with my mum and dad and two brothers and my sister, and we'd go to them little, and I'd drink my pop, and it just reminded me of all that, all the colours and the people and the kind of like lights, and yeah, I loved it all.
So great.
Yeah.
And I think we'll do one last question. So what was your all-time favorite moment from beginning to end, whether it was the premiere, whether it was the really dramatic scenes? Like, what is something that you just go, oh, that was sweetheart? But I know you guys have got so many stories that have been amazing, so maybe just try and pick one.
Oh god, there's so many.
I know. You guys are amazing with all your memories. It's so great.
It might have been when we were all on the beach together. It was a day off we had, and there was like the whole crew and like the whole cast, and everyone was on the beach, and we'd had like a little picnic, and people were swimming, and I think it was a Sunday, and it was really nice, and the sun was out, and there was like a lovely breeze, I remember, and we were all like on these picnic benches, and I just remember like that just being a really, really lovely day. And I think everyone was like on their off switch. So I think we all were just talking as mates, and like, that was really lovely. That was like one of my favorite. I mean, I don't think I could have a favorite memory, but I think that Sunday was up there. Because it was just everyone together.
Yes, it was incredible. I think mine, I know it's quite subtle, but I think it's when I'm in the dance hall and AJ's gone and everyone's gone and I'm on my own. And then I look at a mother and daughter's phone and I realise there's a moment where I realise, and I remember Marley coming over and just going, oh my God, oh. And it was a nice moment. Do you remember, Marley, when I kind of look at the girls, and I think, yeah, that really, it was just, I don't know. I mean, there's so many things, like Nell said. I loved the dance. I really loved the dance. I loved doing the dance. I loved dressing up. I really enjoyed the argument where Nell's sick, where AJ's sick, and it's just chaotic. That was really fun. But I think that moment where I sort of just realised something, and then it's almost like, yeah, I don't know. It's very difficult to choose, because there's so many great moments. I think another one for me was meeting Molly and Michelle in Soho as well, and just talking about it for the first time. I think that was a big moment for me, actually.
Yeah, that was definitely a big moment for me. I was like a fangirl that whole time. I was just like trying to like mad hold it down. I was just like, oh my God, I'm like in front of one of my favorite actresses right now. Like, this is nuts. And we're talking about my film. Like, I'm gonna wake up soon. This is crazy. And just how open Jo was, and how yeah, just amazing person that she is, and friend now. I'm just like so grateful to her for really sort of investing in me and the project, and Nell, like, you know, great friendship with Nell now off the back of Sweetheart, and I'm so proud of her and everything she's done. And in terms of the film, like, I think, you know, there's a moment where they're both on the beach at the end, and that scene was actually really long in the script, and I really we ended up stripping it right back in the edit. And I think, you know, when kind of Nell is lying down on Tina, and Tina kind of just has a moment where she sort of lets go, but she's still not showing Nell that emotion. And I think that's sort of super representative of a lot of mothers, and how much they're dealing with, and how much they're going through themselves, and what they show in front of their children and what they don't. And I think for me that was like a huge moment. And I think, like, every time I see that, it makes it, like, gets to me, because I think it's just so representative of a lot of parents that I know, and Jo just played it so well. And I think it's just something that just means everything, but without dialogue, if that makes sense. You know, it's just a really powerful moment for me. That's like, okay, I get it now. We're all going through shit, you know? Yeah, so that's a really memorable moment, I guess.
What a beautiful setting to tell a story like that. So yeah, God, this is so exciting. This film, everything. I've had so many beautiful messages about it, you know. Incredible. Yeah.
That's so
yes.
Amazing. So amazing. Thank you all. That was really nice.
Hey Marley, I've heard Sweetheart's coming out. When's it coming out?
I don't know, Jojo. I think it might be the 29th. No?
Yeah, I think you're probably right, Marley. I think it's coming out on DVD and on demand.
Nice.